Okay. Hey guys. So, where did we leave off? Um, okay. So we'll continue from where we were. We have 5 videos made. The last of our videos, we added generics to the API client. We added a progress indicator and an empty state view to our list view screen, and we added some lightweight error handling. Um, Based around presenting a UI alert to the user if we have an error. We didn't expand on that error handling too much, and maybe we'll do that later. That would be nice. But just to present the error, and that functionality and that pattern or architecture is in place, that we can propagate an error to an alert view back to the SwiftUI view, and present an alert to the user to keep them informed of what's happening in the app or why the app is failing for whatever reason. Okay, so let's have a look at where we are. API client, API model, which is the all posts response. We have our list view, our common constants and style, our mock API client, which we are using predominantly for previews. And we might extend this a bit for any new screen. Alert presenter, that's the pattern we're using for the AI or for the UI alert view, which is just has its alert types, fetch all posts, and unknown. And yes, okay, is presented observable variable. Oh, sorry, the entire alert presenter is observable. This is what presents and hides our view. We've got the type, which we switch on to present a title or a message. So the alert presenter knows about what the UI title and message will be based on its type. Um, we have the card view. Let's have a quick look at our UI. I will stop and start, stop, start. We have our card view, just is picking up our all posts API response that we implemented in the last few videos. Just bring this down here. Have a quick look. So we got a progress indicator, makes requests. Oh, we've got a UI alert, which we implemented the last time. We've got a retry, which I don't think we do anything. I think we're just printing, aren't we? Retry, and we get a retry print. You know what's going on here? It's the app file, which is not actually using the, we're mocking here. So let's remove the mock, run again. I have Charles here for APIs, but I don't think we need to look at it. We know. And there we go. We get a progress indicator, and then we get a response from the API, and we're simply just listing out what we get back from this API. And we had a look through these APIs in the second video, so we can go back and look at that. We've got our UI here, which is fairly straightforward. We've got our progress view for when the view model is loading or when the API response is underway. We have an empty state view for when the content or items are empty. And then we have our list with a card view to display our items. We've got this styling here. We're using a task to make our API response before the API request, before the screen appears. And we're using our alert pattern here with the alert presenter for presenting UI alerts. We're extracting our list actions because they are fairly self-explanatory, and I don't like to keep these in the view because it just adds to growing views when we don't need to see that logic in the view. The logic is quite straightforward, and if you need to, if there's an issue with some of the actions, you know that this is where you're going to find it in this class here. So I just extract those. Everything's quite straightforward. We can inject a view model here if we need some dependencies and we want to do anything with these buttons for the retry, for instance. And then finally the view model here, which we have the fetch all posts, goes to the API client, fetch all posts, toggles this is loading bool, handles the error here, which has got one generic error for fetch all posts. Handle errors here is run on the main thread, run on a task, so we can create this asynchronous context and then run directly on main thread, no matter what thread calls this method here. That's it. Okay. So that's a quick recap in 5 minutes, which we seem to do at the start of every video. As much for myself as anyone else. So let's start off and build out where we want to go with this. So what we want to do is we want to tap on these posts, these user posts, and we want to make a separate request. Or what I had in mind was make a separate request for the individual post. So there's an API that we looked at before, get post by ID. So we're going to call a different screen. We're going to fetch the post. It's actually going to bring back the same content, but I'm not too bothered with that. This API that we're using is quite limited. So we're doing it just for a kind of proof of concept, or just to build out this application. So we're going to make a separate API for that single post. It means we have to implement a new API in the API client. What I have in mind then is, once we get back this request, I would like also to make a request for the comments based on that post. And I'd like to maybe group those two API requests, and have some logic to wait for both requests to come back with a response, and then handle, the possibility of one failing, of how to present the progress alert while we're waiting for a second request, and just that's what I have in mind. We'll get to that. That's probably not in this video, but in the one following. But right now, let's implement a second screen, a detail screen. Let's make this second request, even though we do have the information. But like I said, the API is a bit limited and lightweight. So let's make this second request here with an ID. We'll extend our API client to do that. We'll handle the progress view, the alert for handling errors, again, very lightweight if we can. The empty state view, and yes, the routing. So that's new. That's what we're really focusing on now, is the implementation of a navigation to this next screen. So let's dive into that, and probably not just a simple navigation. I'd like to implement a basic router pattern, which can be useful in a larger app, or if we want to maybe tie navigation to different actions within the app. So that's what we'll start with doing. Okay, so let's start with this additional API call. So here we are, list view. Bring up my simulator again. So we want to click one of these, and we want to go to a new screen. And as part of that, I'm going to implement a navigation stack here. So we'll get our header, navigation bar, all that kind of stuff that we want. So I think that's where we will start. All right, let's start there then. I am going to create a second view. I think that's a good place to start. So let's kill the simulator here. Okay, what have we got? Alert presenter. You know what? I'm going to rename some of this stuff here. This is the list view alert actions, list view model. This alert presenter. I think we should have, separate alert presenters for each view. So I'm going to rename this to the list alert presenter. it's in the list view folder there, and I think it is, you know, strongly associated with the list view. So I think we can go with that and rename it. That's where it belongs. And then we've got the card view. Sounds like I'm going to reuse this. I would probably reuse this view. Let's rename this just to the post card view. Yeah, I think so. Post card view. So does that mean we take it out of the list view? It might do. Post card view here. Let's rename that. Okay, I don't think this belongs in here anymore. I think we might be using this in our next view. So I'm going to move it out of the list view folder. And now I'm going to create a new view. So let's create an empty file and let's call it the post detail view. Yes, post detail view. Boom. Let's call it there. Let's get it out of common. It's not belonging there and out of here. Let's put it down. Do you want to say this? No. No. In here. There we go. Now it's obviously a Swift UI view. So import Swift UI. Give it a name. Struct post detail view. And let's go with the this body for now. You know what? We could give it a view model right now because we are using MVVM architecture throughout this app because it's straightforward, it's simple. So that's what we've decided to go for. So let's maybe create that model now so we have all the scaffolding in place to build out our next view. So view model. It's observable. Is it going to be observable? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're going to have one post item, which is going to have one post. Add an array of comments later on, but starting with a single post. Okay, so it's observable. Let's give it an initializer because we're definitely going to need the API client, like we did in the previous view model. It's going to use the protocol, and let's inject an actual concrete class so we don't need to call this at the initialization stage every time. We can just use this default API client concrete class. Does not conform to observable. Yes, okay, I know that. Let's first put our API client instant here. So we'll say, yes, we want the published post. It's not a post though. What did we call is it all post? All posts response. Have to remind myself of the model. All post response. This, I think, is the same thing. So we should change this. This is not an all post response. This is a post response model. Yeah, so post response model. I'm going to rename that as well because we're going to reuse that. It's not an all posts, so it's a post response model. Here we go. Everything is there. Yes, it is. Let's rename that. And we will want one of these to be observable in our post detail view model. Is it optional? I think it should be optional. Yes. Okay. What is this complaining about? Initializer wrapped value is not available due to missing import. Okay. Really? Post does not conform to observable. It's at published var posts response model. It should be a post model. Go back here. That's not that either. Okay, I'm going to refactor and say post response model. There you go. Rename it like that. And go back to where we were. So this now is not a post, it's a post response model. The client, we need an API in here. I'm going to just ignore those warnings for a second. Private var API client. API client is that. And let's set the client here. Self API client is the API client. Great. Now, class post detail view model is an observable object. It has a published var. Initializer is not available due to really. I thought Swift UI would have exposed those methods, but obviously not. Okay, so here we are. We've got a basic view model with an API client, a post, an observable post, and our post publisher. And we are injecting here. That's fine. Okay, so in the view, let's inject the view model like we did before. And we're using at state object to manage our view models so that they live and die with the view. That's what we're doing. That's what we've done. Stick with it. So it's state object view model post detail. Yes, view model. That's fine. Do I need to initialize this? No, I do not. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is create an initializer, inject the inject the inject the view model. Yes, so we're doing this for reasons of previews. We want to be able to inject a view model that has a mocked API client so that we can display data and work on our view without having to run the simulator every time. So this is why we're creating the initializer and injecting the view model so that we can mock it. So in here, we're going to say self view model. Oh, no, we're not going to say that. We're going to use this syntax again. This is underscore view model equals with actually state object in it with an initial value. Oh, really? I was using wrap to value before. Yes, that's so AI is or autocomplete is giving me the wrong API. So let's do that. So here we are. Great stuff. That's fine. Now we can mock this. Maybe we should do that now. No, hold on, hold on. Oh, you know what? If we run the previews now, we're just going to see the hello world because we're not actually doing anything in the UI with real content yet. Maybe we could start implementing this new API. We have no navigation link yet, though. So we have no access to this class just yet. We don't need it, though, if we're going to use previews. So it's either implement the API from here or the navigation link. What are we at? We're at 20 minutes almost. So let's go for the navigation link. That's the new piece that we're missing. Let's just make sure that this what did I do there? Canvas. Where's my where is it? Is it here? No? Where'd it go? Give me a oh, I don't have a preview in place. Let's put one in place. So preview body, please. Okay, so now I'm going to have to create a mock as we did before. So we're going to say mock view model equals post detail model view model, then API client, post detail view, the view model like that. We don't mock API client yet, so let's say let mock API client equals the mock API client that we created in the previous videos, and let's inject that into the view model here. Oh, we don't need that. And now can we get a preview of just the hello world? Let's wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Okay, so we've got a Swift UI view that builds and displays. So let's link to that view. I am going to extract this view model for now. No point in keeping it here. We're going to need to import combine here for our publisher API. That's great. Here we go. And let's make a folder here just to keep things tidy. New folder from selection. This is the post detail view. Okay, so all associated objects will go into this folder. Okay, let's go back to our list view. So we want to tap on one of these cards here, and we want that card to bring us directly to that new Hello World screen, and we'll build out the screen and the API after that. But we need a navigation link to that, and I'm going to use the navigation link, so that value-based navigation. So navigation link with a value, a hashable value, and then an associated destination which conforms to view. We'll use a navigation stack as well, so that when we go to that new view, we can go back, and we've got a complete navigation into the view and out of the view. So let's build that out. I'm going to use a pattern as well that I've used before that can be extended quite well for very coordinator-like navigation in SwiftUI apps, and you can inject that using the environment objects, and I've used it in a few places before. I find it useful. So let's build that out. Okay, where do we start? Okay, let's build out the root object, which is what I use. So we'll create a new file here. It's called, let's call it navigation router, even though that's not the object we're going to create. Or we just call it route? No, let's call it navigation router. And we'll put all the navigation, the route navigation associated patterns in here. So the first pattern I use is I create these objects, these enum objects called root. It's an enum, and we will use it with navigation link to associate a hashable value with a view. So I'll build it out and I'll try and explain my way through it as I go, and why it's useful. So, okay, let's create this enum first. It needs to be hashable. This is the important part of this root. We could leave it out and see it fail later, but let's have a look. Okay, so let's create a few cases. So we just need one case for now, and it's going to be a navigation to the detail view. So let's just say detail view, and let's pass in a post ID. So we're going to be tapping on one of these IDs. Oops. We're going to be tapping on one of these IDs, and then we're going to go to the next screen, pass in the post ID, and then we will make this post ID here, and then we will make this API call based on this new post ID that we've passed in. So we'll pass that to the view model and let the view model pass it to the API client, which will make the request based on the ID we've passed in. It will know the endpoint to use, and then it will come back with a value to pop or response data to populate our views. Excuse me. Okay. Hmm. So detail view. Let's pass in a post ID. So post ID. Yes. Be explicit about what we're doing here, and it's an int, and that's it. Okay. So that's the hashable value we will use with our navigation link API. We want to associate this hashable value here with an actual view. So with an actual view. So we want this enum to conform to view. So we'll say, oh, let's extend the route enum, not with identifiable, but with view, which includes identifiable. But I don't think we need identifiable at this stage. Okay, so extend to view, we need to conform. This conformance always does, oh, sorry, we need SwiftUI. It'll ask me to conform and it doesn't give me the exact conformance that I want. No, it doesn't. What we want is var body, some view, and this will switch on the cases. For detail view post ID, we will construct the view here. We use this syntax to extract the value passed into the enum. No, not a navigation link here. Interesting that it suggests that. What we will do here is create the view. So let's go post detail view, post detail view. And do I need to give it a model? A view model? Yeah. Okay. Let's just do this for a minute. Look at this guy again. So really it's the view model that needs that ID. So let's inject the view model here. The view will still own it and it will know about, and it will be a new value. Yes. So let's generate this view model here with the correct post ID. So let's say a view model equals, it's a post detail view model, not with an API client. We're not injecting that here. Post ID, do I have that in the, that's what I'm looking for. Do I have that implemented? No, I do not. API client, okay. A post ID. Let's do it. Post ID, we will need this here. And it is not nil, it is required. Oh, like that. So let's do that. This has to be separated. Let's put a post ID in here. Private, yes, private var post ID is an int, non-optional, and we pass it in here. Let's set it. Post ID equals post ID. No. Post ID. Thank you. Equals that. Okay, back to our router here. So now we set up the view model, post detail view model, post ID with this post ID. And there, let's pass this view model into the view. Okay, so now we have our route set up. I'm going to, I think that's all we need for navigation. Although I want to create this navigation router object, even though we probably aren't going to use it immediately. But let's add a second view so we can build this out. So post detail view. No, 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 no. List view. So we're going from here. Can I get rid of that? I can. And now we have a bit more space. Okay. So let's start with. Okay, so we want a navigation stack. Okay, so let's create a navigation stack here. So we want to embed our view in a navigation stack, and we want the navigation stack to manage the view stack. And let's build that out. I'm going to try and build this without a path initially, but I will add the path later. So let's say navigation stack. No, navigation stack. There we go. No root for now. No title. Let's put the title in. I'm not. I'm going to do something different with the title. I didn't think so. Okay, so that's gone. So now we've got a navigation stack. I'm going to need to put this group. Do I need the group anymore? I don't know if I do need the group anymore. So let's embed this all in the navigation stack. So our navigation stack should replace the need for the group. I think so anyway. So we still have our task being fetched. All of our views are now embedded in this navigation stack. This is the parent view of our detail view. Okay, so this stays the same. Does this build like that? It should do. Yes, it does. No, it does not. Post ID in the post detail view, the previews. Oh, okay. Mock API client and this guy. Okay. Give me a post ID and I'll just inject, not a mock, just inject one. Okay. Let's keep going. We're running at 32 minutes. We're still okay. Why is that complaining? I'm gonna just put this into a second line. Incorrect. It should be post ID, like that. All right. Let's go back to our list view here. Let's run it again. Okay, it builds. Let's get rid of this. And what we want to do now is, okay. What we want to do now, we've got our navigation stack in place. We want now to implement our navigation link to establish this value-based navigation to our new detail screen. So it's pretty straightforward, not in here, but in here. So our button for the navigation link are these postcards. Okay, so these each of these cards that we display in the main list view once we get our post response or all post response back. So not on the list, but instead on the card, which is here. Let's indent this correctly like that. And okay, so the API for the navigation link is fairly straightforward. It's navigation link, and it's this value label API that I'm going to use, which is just linking a value to a view. So, okay, it is preempting my implementation here, but not quite correctly. So let's get rid of that. This is correct as far as I can see. Let's find out. Okay. The value is here. All right. So we've got a value, a label, and that's it. Okay, so no, that's not quite right. Is it? Value and label. Okay, so the value that we're going to associate or that we're going to pass to this API is this root detail view. It's a hashable value, so SwiftUI will hash that really quickly and associate, and it's a unique value, and it will associate that hashed value with a view that we did define. We need to define that linking between value and view, and we'll do that. And that's why our root enum here conforms to both hashable and to view. So we can associate a unique hashed value to a, a unique view. So we've got root.detail view post ID, and we've passed in the post ID because we need that in the view. So that's our value, and it is hashable. So SwiftUI can just, in the background, hash that value and associate it with whatever we provide. Now the label, can I remove this and wrap this up like that? And the label here is our postcard view. So this is the um, you know, navigation button label that we will associate with this. What about, just trying to see how I format this. Yes, that should be fine. And we'll bring this up because you don't need to leave it like separate lines. There we go. Little space in here, so it's more apparent what we're doing. So now we've got a navigation link with a hashable value, a label, which is our postcard view, and we want to associate this value here with a view, and we'll use the navigation destination API, which should be used with this navigation link API. So to achieve this value-based navigation that we're after. So where to go? So we've got the task here and the alert. I'm going to stick the navigation destination here. So it's navigation, destination, and it is for a destination here. So it's a hashable type. Let's just say root.self. That's our, oops, that is our hashable type. And the destination is going to be a view. Can I get rid of that and use this trailing closure? Now, this is how we're writing it explicitly. We're going to say a view in, no. Is it a route in? Okay, so this type here is giving us back a route. So we're saying, say view in route, and then we cannot find route. Okay. Okay. So it's going to return us a route, and that's it, route in, and we're going to return that route. And we know that that route conforms to view, and it should present a view. So this API is defining the view that we want to associate with this hashable value here. And SwiftUI, once we tap on the post card here, it will associate that hashed value with this view. And it's really just returning this route and saying, what view is associated with this. There's a nicer way to write this. This is writing explicitly. We don't need to use the return. That's not needed. We don't really need to use the route in and then return the route. Instead, we can just take first instance that comes back because it already conforms to view. So we can just do this. So it's a very lightweight API call in our view. And it becomes quite self-explanatory if your app grows and this is the API that you use throughout your application. It becomes pretty small footprint in each of our views. Okay, so let's just run this and make sure it runs. We're going to build a little bit further on that navigation now shortly. Okay, so here we go. We can already see that we've got these chevrons. So it does look like we've got a link. Let's hit one of them. Oh, we get an explosion. A navigation link is presenting a value of type route, but there is no matching destination. Navigation destination declaration visible from the location of the link. Where am I? The link cannot be activated. Links search for destinations in any surrounding navigation stack, then within the same column of a navigation split view. I look like I might be. Do I need a path? No, I think this. I don't think I need the path just yet. I think the issue I'm having here is where I am embedding my navigation link. So I'm in the view. I need to put it in here. I don't think so, do I? No. Let's find out. Don't think so. That's not right. Trying to put my group back again, maybe. So got my navigation stack. Is the stack? Yes, it is. It is the parent view. Hit this. That works. Okay. So my navigation destination needs to be on the actual list where the navigation link is embedded. Okay. Fine. So be it. Okay, let's implement a path now as well. And I'm going to implement this path so that we can have access to a navigation router, which we can use to programmatically add and remove views from our stack. In fact, we can remove the navigation link if we want after we start using path, and we could use action. So if we could put a button here, we could put a tap gesture. I'm just going to implement that, and then let's set it up and see that. Let's build a lightweight pattern that we can use, and let's see how we use it as we proceed. So I'm going to set up a navigation router, which will be a class. Yes, it will be a class. Um, can it be a struct? Struct navigation router is here, conforms to view. Conforms to view? No, it doesn't need to conform to view. So no, thank you. I don't need that conformance. The navigation router will have it needs to be observable. So it's going to be a class. And it's going to be observable object. It needs to be observable so that it can have a var, not current route, but just say routes here, which is an array route and is empty here. Guys, I'm just gonna switch on my heating. Okay, where am I? Yes, so the routes, we have an array of routes here. We're going to use this as our path. It doesn't conform to observable. Make this published here. um, okay, sorry. We need to just get rid of this for a minute. I don't need that. We need to import combine here. I'm going to use this. I've got my var routes array. Technically, that's all I need. Um, but yeah, technically that's all I need. But let's do this here. So over here, we're going to use um, we're going to use our router. Okay, so um, we're going to, for now, I'm going to use state object. I'm going to remove this afterwards. So it's a var, it's our router, and it is a navigation. Let's say equals a navigation router. There we go. And in here on the navigation stack, we're going to define a path of route, sorry, just a path of uh, router, not current path. It's router.routes. So this will define the navigation stack. Here we go. And it's the navigation stack will be based on this array of routes. Anything we add to this will be published back to the stack. So programmatic, if we add so for instance, if I was to remove this navigation link, like I said earlier, let's grab this internal view here. Does this work? I think it does. So we've got our postcard, and if I put a tap gesture here, yes. If I put a tap gesture here, and I grab the routes, and I append this view, this detail view, using our route object here. So we're appending an actual view. This should also work. Not sure about the back navigation on that, but let's just run it and see what happens. Does that work? Because we're using this new path now, so here we go. We used it, we lose the chevron. Tap. Ooh, we do not navigate. So tap gesture on this. Not doing what I expected it to do. Maybe. Why? Why? What about I add? Think. Router routes. Is the tap gesture working? Print. Run it again. Ooh. Yes, we're running. Okay, so I'm going to implement some methods here. The navigation router is initialized. Yes, it is. It's owned by the view. Yes, it is. Let's add a couple of functions here. The main one being to, no, not to navigate to, but to push. So I'm going to say just push a route. So let's say route and implement the route here. Oh. And what we're going to do when we call push is we're going to get the routes here and we're going to append the route just like that. Simple. Similarly, if we're pushing, you would like to pop, right? So pop. No, I don't return a route, guys. I just pop like that, and I go routes dot remove last. And that's it. So now we've got a push pop for our navigation stack. Now, will this... So I get the router here, and I'm just going to say push. Give me a route. It's the detail view. Detail view. I'm going to... Yeah, that's fine, I think, right? Let's run that. 50 minutes, guys. 50 minutes. Okay, I'm getting a print, but no. Why is that not navigating? Navigation stack is here. And I am appending on the stack. Got the list here, it's fine. I'm only, this is not the, there. Ugh. I need that destination, don't I? Do I? Do I need that? I'm sure I do. I do. So I'm going to move this out of here and see do I get this old error again. Yes, I do. Okay. Misplaced navigation destination modifier for route. It will be ignored. Okay. Let's move that back. On the tap gesture on the card itself. Ugh. I expected that. I can't just see why it's not adding to my path here. This is not the pattern I'm trying to implement. But for the fun of it, we can. I want to use the navigation link, but I think this should work just with path here. So let's ask ChatGPT and just see why it's not working or what I'm missing here. Okay, so expose this. Hit this guy. Okay, we've got access. So I am expecting my tap gesture to add a route view to my path and the navigation stack to then present the new detail view. Detail view. Can you tell me why this is not working? Try that. And we've exposed both our classes here and the navigation router. Ugh, that's not what I wanted it to do. I asked a question. Okay, let's see what it has given us back. Wasn't happening because your navigation stack wasn't being modified when the path changed. Root cause it. Navigation stack only reacts when the bound value publishes the changes. Ahaha. Okay. So, okay, sorry, here we go. This is not marked published. And is that it? Let's try running that again. Navigation, that's not right. Is it? No, it is right. That's fine. Ooh, go away. We don't want that. Let's remove that. Back to my simulator here. Tap. Oh, look at that. So there we go. That's it. So it was just simply that we were missing this. And, AI is very useful for debugging these issues quickly. And maybe I didn't see it. I didn't see it there. Okay, so, but we're not doing that. I'm going to stick with this navigation link syntax because it is simpler. We don't need the navigation router to do this, although I'm going to keep the navigation router because what this allows me to do. So I'll put this back first of all. And what we've demonstrated is that we don't need this navigation link. We can just programmatically now add and remove views from our path, which the navigation stack is using to build up um, a uh, a stack of views within our app that represents our navigations. So we're going to remove this and this. So we just demonstrated we can do these things programmatically, and that may be useful. We might want to have a button on the detail screen where you tap it and it pops the view, and then the navigation stack will respond and pop that view off the stack and bring the user back. In order to do that, so this now, let's just run this again to be sure this is still working. We've returned to our navigation link API with its navigation destination here. We get our chevrons back, I think. Yes, we do. Tap and in we go. And they all work. Yes, they do. And the back works as well. We're not getting this navigation stack title. So let's add in a title here. The title will be down here. So navigation title here. Let's put in a post detail like that. Post detail. And let's put an emoji in place because we like that. Post detail. Detail. This. Yeah, let's go for an open book because it's nice. And let's extract this to our constants file. Let's make this here. And it's on the list view. No. Oh, I get you. Excuse me. So this, oh, very good. So go to our constants here in the list view. Let's say static let nav title. It will not equal post detail. So this will be in the detail view. So let's add a new enum here, not segues, post detail. These are the constants for the post detail screen like this. Let's do a static let there. And that is the post detail nav title. But the list view should be, it's a list of posts. So let's just say list posts list. How about that? Posts list. Posts list. And let's use a different emoji here. Posts. Post. Post box. Go for that. What about okay, let's go for the post box. What about writing? Right? This guy? Go for that. That's it. We've got a post list. That's it. Go back to our view, our list view here. And let's get rid of this here and say constants dot list view, and the nav title is there. I'm just going to copy paste this into our post detail view, which is here. Oops. So this as a child view should inherit this navigation stack. So once I push the detail view onto this path, it is embedded in navigation stack. So if I implement, really? The navigation title here. Do we expect to get it? I think we do. So we're going for detail, post detail here, nav title. Let's run it and see how it goes. We expect this to be correct. I think so. And launch in here. Oh, we've no navigation stack. Huh. No title here. So we need to work out why not. The navigation stack. I think, okay, I think I'm going to have to wrap this in a group. Um, so the list view is fine. Let's leave that there. I'm just going to play around with this idea. Uh, let's wrap this up in a group, group, group. Drag this inside the group here and fix the indentations. Now my destination is here. Oh God, really? Let's put it here. Let's run it again. See, do we get any errors? We do. Okay, all right. Let's have a look. Let's get rid of this. Back to what we had. Now, why is my title not appearing? Yeah, I'm feeling my view structure here is not correct. Let's just try this here. That's indented incorrect. Oh, really? Indent all of that. There we go. Run it again. Why is this indenting out here? Oh, because this guy. So let's just see what happens here. Now we get it. Okay. So, let's have a look at this. So this task here is being fired on the navigation stack appearing. I can bring that in here and I can bring the alert all inside the stack. We haven't actually tested the alert, so we don't actually know if that's working. So I can put all of that here, all based on the list. No, 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 that's not right. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't do that. We would get nothing by doing that. So I need to take the task out. The alert also has to go out. They can't be there. They will not fire. Else. No, no. Hmm. So these are on the navigation stack. And these guys, this is a modifier on the list itself that needs to be there. This is on, well, I know it needs to be inside the navigation stack. So yeah, it should not be there because then we don't have a title if we don't have content. And we need it. So can I take that out of here and put it here? Oh, no, that's very annoying. Indent, why are they like that? Oh, okay, so here's where I need my group. Um, I'm only using group because I don't have a parent view structure, which I, you know, might have in the next view. I feel like I will have. So I'm using group for now. Um, let's try that. Okay, so now we get our navigation title and our destination, no matter what view we're displaying, whether it's the progress view, empty state, or the populated list. Try that again. We're an hour and 4 minutes in here, guys. So let's hope for that. Okay, so we get the title, and we get the navigation with the title again, post detail. Back out of there, that works. Okay, so I think that's it. That is it for now, for this video anyway. So what we've done here is we've implemented the navigation stack. Let's have a quick look at this code here. It all appears. So we have implemented API client. Oh yes, we did some renaming. Um, some more renaming. Some more renaming. We've added our nav titles to the constants file. We've created the navigation router. Um, we've created the navigation router with this hashable value and an associated view. So we've conformed the route object to view, so we can do that. And then in the list view here, we've associated this hashable value, route value, with a navigation destination, and using this nice concise API or signature to call up our view. So we're linking this hashable value, this proper value-based navigation, hashable value linked to a view itself. We've embedded all our views in a navigation stack, so we can add that title and we can have this nice structured UI. We've also demonstrated the use of path here, which kind of extends our navigation control to not just this navigation link API, but to being able to pop and add views to our path programmatically and have the UI respond to that. So we know we can do that. Actually, one thing I want to do here before we finish up is to, and I think we've pretty much got everything as clean as we want. We implemented a new screen as well, the post detail view screen. We implemented the previews on that screen. We set up a basic view model as well, which in the next video we'll add that additional API method. But what I'd like to do before we leave this video is I'm going to just go back to this list view here. We have our router as a state object at the moment. I would like to inject this even further back. And although our list view is our base view, and this would be fine for our small app, I think let's inject this as an environment object. And therefore this router will be available to all child views after this. So will be available in our detail view for us to pop. And it's not available there at the moment. So if I go to our detail view here, yes, I would like maybe programmatically to add a button here and be able to affect the navigation of the app. So maybe pop a view without having to tap that back button in the nav bar, you know. So at the moment I can't do that without passing this router instance into this view, which we're not doing. So let's do that. If we're adopting this kind of router pattern, coordinator pattern in our application. So here we are in the detailed view. What we want to do here is set up a state object. So we'll just move this really here, move this out of the list view and into our app file. So we've set up that state object. Yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to inject this as an environment object. So environment object here, and we pass in the router. And that's okay. Yes, it is. So now we need to come back to our list view here, and we need to use this environment object, and it is a var router navigation router. And then I'm going to have to update. No, that's fine. So does this still work? Let's run it again. Tap works. Back we go. That works. And if I go to the post detail view here, I think we need, is the environment object passed in automatically? I don't think so. Is it? No, it's not. No, it's not. So I would need to reuse it here. Just add this conformance so we can use the environment object, And then, so let's do an on appear here. On appear. Oops. Not that. On appearance there. How do I do that? Wait again. Did I do it somewhere else? I don't. Did I do it in the mock API client? I did. So let's do this. Okay, let's do a sorry, go back here. Why? Why? Oh, that's why, Mark. Back. Here we go. Try a wait. 2.5 seconds. Invalid. Converged from async function of type that to synchronous function of type that. Okay, so let's see. Can I use a task here? Like that? Oh, God. Invalid version of throwing function of type that. I just want to so it's on appearance. Get rid of that. Really? Okay, that's without maybe working this out. Can I do that? Async call in a function that does not support it. Okay, so let's put a task in here and create that context. And then you're going to go try await and go to sleep. There we go. Creating that asynchronous environment context so we can run this. And here I'm going to use the router pop. There's no animated, so it's just pop. So will that work? Do I have to run this on the main thread? Let's find out. It should be easy to do that in here by using the main actor. So in we go. Tap on this, wait 2.5 seconds. It pops back again. So that works. So we can use this environment object here. Let's leave it here. I'm going to take out this on appearance block, and that's it. So let's commit this code for now. Just so we've got everything. Make sure we have it. Commit, and it's video 6, I think, guys. Is it video 6? Video 6. Longer video, 1 hour 13, but yeah, we achieved some stuff. So video 6, and we implemented, let's just say, navigation router pattern, added detail view and model, and the view model. What else did we do? Oh, can't see that. Why not? I hate that. Yeah, some renaming. The navigation stack. The router pattern. That's it, pretty much. That's it. Okay, back to the commit. Why do I not see that here? Anyway, let's not worry about it now. Navigation router pattern. Add a detail view and view model. That's it. Navigation stack with router pattern. That's it. And commit that. Okay. That's video 6. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.